Okay, hi, my name is David Flores. I am a commercial real estate investor based in Houston. I've been in the business 20 years and done 2 billion in transactions during that time. Welcome to the podcast Diamonds in the Rough. Today, our esteemed guest is Chad Collins. Chad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, David.
Give us a quick background on your expertise on where you are in the commercial real estate space right now.
Right now, I'm a commercial mortgage banker, and so uh, I help investors, owners find the right capital for the right execution, whether they're refinancing, acquiring, whether that's a value add situation. Just kind of depends, but we help match investors and the capital.
Very good. Very good. You and I have known each other a long time, and I know you to be one of the best in the business. How did you get into the commercial real estate business originally?
I was an undergraduate finance major, got out and did business valuation for the first 5 years of my career, which is business appraisal. Not too dissimilar from figuring out the value of a piece of real estate. That was more of a intangible. And after 5 years, I thought that I'd want to get into more tangible assets like real estate. It's family business. My father's in real estate. And then I made the switch, I guess, in '04. So before the crash in '08. So I spent about 4 years as an analyst in the commercial mortgage banking industry. And then after that, I started to specialize. I guess when the market turned south, I started to specialize in multifamily because the agencies at the time, Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, were the only ones lending. And so that's kind of where I got my start in multifamily, and that's primarily where I focus since.
Very good. Very good. Cool. So we are definitely in interesting times in world history right now. What's your take on the current market out there in the commercial real estate world?
I think we're still in the wait and see. There, from my little bit of research I'm doing here and trying to understand owners, capital, what's everybody waiting for, and they are waiting. They're not sure what's going to happen. Jobs is a big thing in our business, as you know. And if you go to multifamily right now, people who are losing their jobs are deciding whether or not to pay their rent or feed their family or pay their car note, what have you. And that's going to trickle through all of the asset classes. And so we're in interesting times. I don't know what to make of it yet. I know that some states, Texas included, are starting to consider loosening the restrictions. I don't know how that's going to play out. For instance, let's say everybody is allowed to go to the burger joint down the street. Great. Has the public, or is the public now believe that do they believe they're safe? Okay, so now I can go, but does anybody want to go? So I think fear, market sentiment, maybe you call it that, will play a huge role, and I think that's just going to be over time. I think some news that just came out of California over the last few days about the antibodies of the virus being in more people that never showed symptoms. So is this virus less deadly than we anticipated, or less deadly than we've been told? What's the truth? I don't know. And I think the public is going to have to figure that out as a whole, and then we'll see what happens.
Sure. So, maybe later this year, 6 to maybe 9 months from now, put on your kind of prognosticator hat and what do you think the commercial real estate space will look like then?
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that too. I don't know. I think that office. Let's pick office. Let's talk about office. So I haven't spent a lot of time there in that sector, but a lot of people are working from home now, and business owners there'll be some employees that can actually work from home, where they don't have to be babysat, they don't have to be micromanaged, and they can actually get their job done. They don't have to be in the office. And as a business owner, you might say, hey, I don't need that office space now. So instead of needing 1,000 feet, I need half of that or a quarter of that, whatever it may be. I don't need a bunch of offices because people can work from home. That cuts my overhead. And so the demand for space drops. Houston's already struggling with office space. There's been, I'm doing this off of memory, which is poor, but let's say we're 80% occupied across the sector in Houston. I can't imagine that's going to improve over the next year. And I think the demand for office space and the idea that a business owner or that a business needs X square feet of space per employee will change. I think that ratio will change. I think retail, let's talk about retail real quickly, in my very limited professional opinion. We don't know what's going to happen there. We don't. I've talked to some owners where they're receiving 50% of rents already. So, which owners have the staying power, and or have dry powder to work through that? I know lenders are calling investors, calling owners, and giving them 90 days, and saying, okay, well, whatever we can do, because they don't. Lenders don't want the property back. If they give them 90 days, they're going to tack those payments on the end or figure out some program of repayment. I know Freddie and Fannie want the P&I repaid over 12 months after the forbearance. So all lenders are going to figure out their own way of doing things. I think retail is going to be a different animal going forward. I think you're going to see a lot of businesses, unfortunately, go out of business. They can't weather the storm. Income has been severely hurt. I heard a anecdote of, just the top restaurants in Houston are doing takeout business, but that's only accounting for 10% of their former revenues. Wow. That's brutal. And then what if you have maybe the chains or the franchises that aren't seeing the business? Your standalones, Chick-fil-A is probably doing, pretty good business, things like that. But I think it's going to be really tough. Really tough.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Chad. Appreciate your expertise. You've been in the business a long time, and thanks for your knowledge today. The way I like to end the show is real simple. We all know it's a rough world out there in the commercial real estate space. So, Chad, I just want to let you know that you are a diamond in the rough. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, David.